This is capital gains and losses. When you see this form, this is for actual investments. So if you're an active trader, the worst ones I want to see is day traders, because this form is a nightmare to look at. If you feel uncomfortable at any time at a site location, just raise your hand and be like, I don't know what's going on in this form. I can't see left from right. And then I'll be there with tears in my eyes to do it for you. Not from enjoyment. But we'll get into capital gains and losses, what it is, what it looks like, and how we input it into the system. There will be an exercise within the certification test where you will have to do one, but it's very simple. It keeps it very easy on this, but in real life, it gets very hectic very quickly. So capital gains and losses, it's a 1099-B or a 1099-S. It's the basis or the adjusted basis, and it's based on holding period, as well as the proceeds from sales. We'll look at the form so that you can see what it actually looks like. So what is a basis? The basis is the original cost of the asset. So what did you buy the stock for? The adjusted basis includes the original cost plus any increases or decreases to that cost, such as commissions, fees, depreciation, casualty losses, insurance, and all the above. Brokers must report costs or the other basis on the 1099-B, and we'll look at that form and show you what that looks like. So not only does your employer submit a W-2, but your broker, your Robinhoods and your Fidelities, your TD Ameritrades, they also submit a report to the IRS, and that's called the 1099-B. And so it'll have codes on it. It'll show what you paid in for each and every transaction that was made during the year with the money that you used for investments. So there's holding periods. These holding periods indicate a tax on that holding period. So if it was held for a short amount of time, do you think it's being taxed more or less? By a show of hands, who says more? By a show of hands, who says less? By a show of hands, who says, I don't know? And then there's the long term. So the short of the short question is that if it's held for less than a year, it's considered a short sale, which means that it's taxed more. These are your day traders. These are the individuals that trade on basis every single second, or they have a machine, an automated machine that does these calculations for them. Long-term holders, these are your people who buy into organizations that believe in them or had long-term. I'm a dividend investor, so I love dividend stocks. So any stock I can hold for forever that pays me monthly, I enjoy. I love stocks like that. Long-term is more than a year, so you just let it sit there. You let it appreciate over time. There's a lot of retirement funds do this, where they put your money into a long-term investment because it just appreciates over time. Long-term capital gains are taxed at a lower rate than short ones. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand why that's the case? Cool. And brokers must determine if it's a short or long. Most forms will break it down into two parts, and it'll be what the shorts are and what the longs are, and they'll put those on two separate pages. So they separate them out. So they say, okay, these are all the short trades that you made throughout the year, and you had 100. And then here's all the long ones that you had, and you had 50. And those are also reported on your 1099-B. And the proceeds from the sale. So they'll show how much you paid for it, how much you sold it at, what day you bought it at, and these are all reported on the 1099-B, and those are also reported on the tax return. And we'll actually take a look at that and see what that looks like. And so it'll show if it's either a gain or a loss. And the system will calculate the gain or the loss. You don't have to put the gain or the loss, but you can. If you put how much it was bought at and how much it was sold at, it'll automatically calculate the gain and the loss for you, but the 1099-B will tell you. So this is what the 1099-B looks like. This is just the statement of the form. It'll come with a summary as well. This is the statement for the 1099-B, And then we'll also need the summary of the 1099-B to actually do the tax return. And that's just the ask. It's the same thing. The proceeds from the sale. This is for like a larger sale. And so this is what a traditional 1099 DIV and an INT will, or an MISC will look like if it's coming from a brokerage itself. So it'll break down everything that happened while you were trading or buying and selling those stocks. So this is what it'll look like. And it'll be a streamlined form, and that's why our software is streamlined the way it is, because remember you guys saw the 1099 INT and the 1099 DIV, and they were separated forms, right? But now when it comes to brokers, they put it all together because their summaries get crazy really fast. She can attest to it. So they break everything down in the same form so that you can see it. But these would be two separate documents within our software, from the DIV at top and the INT at the bottom and the MISC in the middle. And this is what the 1099 summary form 1099-B summary form looks like when it comes to buying and selling stocks. Remember earlier I told you guys that the short and the long are separated. They will always be separated. These forms can get very long, very fast, very quickly. If you have more than 30, 40, 50 trades in a year, you'll be looking at a packet that's 60, 70 pages. But what's most important is just the summary pages. We don't want to get into the weeds just yet. So it's broken down by the short and the long. And as you can see a little bit, it's a little blurry here in person. This is the date acquired, the date sold, or the quantity sold, the proceeds. So this is the date it was disposed or sold, and this is the date it was acquired. So this is like 2023, January 20th, 2023, and this is 10/31/2023. So this is a short sale. They sold it at 200, and is that 2,000? The proceeds were 2,000. So their wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Their cost basis was 2,750. Their proceeds were the 2,000. They sold the 200 stocks, and so they had a loss, which is indicated by brackets, for $750. Can y'all see that? It's a little blurry to me. Is it better over there? Okay. Does that make sense? So it's just a statement showing which stock was bought, sold, which day, and for how much. Okay? And the same thing is true with the longs. And remember, the shorts and the longs are taxed at different levels, so that's why they're separated. So then we have our longs, which are going to be on a separate page or the same page, depending on how many are bought or sold. And the same thing is true. It follows the same format. There will be an exercise on this later on. So what does that look like in the system for us? What does it look like for us once we see that nightmare form? This is what it looks like. We would start by clicking on the capital gains form. And there's other capital gains as well, but we would click on the begin button. It will take us to a page that looks like this. And the very first question it asks, who does this belong to? If it's, did you buy the stocks? Did your spouse buy the stocks? And or what type of property is it? Is it a virtual coin? Is it your Bitcoins? Anything like that? Or is it an actual stock? Is it a bond? What is it that you're trading that's getting you these 1099-B? So the first thing we do is we put in who had the stock. If it's just a single person in the household, it'll automatically assign it to the taxpayer. But if they're in most people have like a joint account. Married couples will have either a joint account or the spouse may have traded. So it'll just ask you to assign who it is that's doing the trading. Then it'll ask you what type of property is it. So most times it's a common stock. So we'll just put a stock. And then we'll put the date acquired and sold. So we'll just add the dates acquired and sold because it has to calculate the tax rate on a short or a long. Okay? And then we'll put the sale price and the price it was bought for. And the cost basis is always reported. And so this is what it looked like. You don't have to add the adjustment because the system will automatically calculate the adjustment for you. As long as you put the amount that it was bought for and the amount that it was sold for, the system will automatically do the adjustment for you. I won't cover that too much. So this just goes over the sale of a home. Most times we won't see that at our sites, so you won't have to worry too much about those. Oh, look at that. The food has arrived. So let's do this question, and then we'll take the 30-minute break, okay? So Kevin paid his broker a fee of $75 on the sale of his stock. For his Form 1099-B shows $925, but the box next to the proceeds is checked. What is the amount Kevin's reports as his sale price? As his sale price?
Wait, it says the net proceeds was $925, so that is already discounting the $75 fees. So it would be $925.
That's a trick question.
Hey, this broker said me to sell his stock. That box next to it.
What's Alon say? So that's a good question. Online, in person, they asked, is this something that we see very commonly? The answer is no, but once in every blue moon, this person does show up. I've had people. My second year, I had an 18-year-old. It was his first year ever trading stocks. He got like $45,000 in just straight trades. So these people, when they show up, they do exist, but they're not very common. And what is the amount they report on his sales price? I'm not sure. It's a trick question. It's 925. Is it 925?
Because the fees don't count.
Yeah, the fees don't count for this, so it wouldn't matter. Yeah, it's just 925. The $75 is to confuse you. All right, we're gonna go and take a 30-minute break, and then we'll leave Jack